What's up, YouTube? It's Meltin Metal Anthony. It's another winter day here in Montana. Today, we're going to re-rig a bucket to work on my neighbor's telehandler. We're going to be using some of this drop C channel that I have left over from a structural project to make fork pockets. Let's grab a piece and throw it in the loader bucket. So here's the bucket in question. To me, it looks like a mulch or a snow bucket. Here nor there. He clearly won it at an auction. I can see the auction tag here. We're going to take that piece of C channel that I picked up earlier and brought in here and weld it right on the bottom. Now the trick is you don't want to just straight up weld this C channel to the bottom because it's just going to become a little bucket of its own if it's down there on the bottom of this thing, and just scoop shit, fill the fork pocket. It's going to be annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to taper it, and I'll show you just how we're going to do that after we get it off the trailer. You know, it's really nice to have a shop this size. I remember there were times where I can only dream of a shop this size and an electric forklift and a crab walking forklift and all the cool tools we have now. It's really been a blessing, but it's also been a result of a lot of hard work. All right, you ready? You wouldn't want to make a move like that on one of those sheet metal welding tables. It would just bend it. But this is 2.5 inches of cast iron. It's a weld sail table. And my buddy sent me this thing out and said, Anthony, use it and abuse it. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get our measurement. It would be ideal to have these fork pockets end right here and then make the end the same height as the blade width, so that way the forks or the pockets aren't sticking below the blade. We don't want them to turn into little dirt scoops, you know what I mean? So I'm going to measure the tip of my fork on my big forklift over there because he said my forks are the same size as yours over there. And I'm going to get a length. I know that the forks aren't going to go all the way in. There's nothing I can do about that. We're working with what we got, and I'm sure he got a great deal on this bucket. So let's go ahead and do that. The other thing I'm hoping for is that the C channel fits between here. If it fits between here, we're going to be in like Flynn. But let's get a measuring tape, verify everything, and then go ahead and start chopping this thing up, laying it out. I might pull this piece outside to torch cut the long part. Some pretty thick channel. Gets up to about 1/2 inch there in the corner, 3/8. So we want to go ahead and make this as quick and fast as we can. So determine that 3 foot is what we're going to want to stuff underneath this bucket. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this out, and then I'm going to use my circular saw to cut this because the chop saw doesn't open up wide enough, I'm pretty sure, for an 8-inch piece of channel. So this is a Skilsaw, metal cutting saw. I can't remember the name of it. It's Outlaw or something like that. It's been really good to me. We've had this thing for a little over a year now, and it's cut through, I'd say, thousands of pieces of metal. I mean, that's what it feels like. Anything from 1/4 inch all the way up to 1 inch we've cut with this thing. But yeah, let's use it today for this. I've got the blade depth set all the way out, which I use it like that no matter what depth it should be set at. You know, it's not wood, it's metal. It's completely fucking different. So yeah, let's go ahead and chop this out. So we're going to cut our second piece here, another 36-inch piece. You don't have to be super exact, but I try to be. It's good practice because when you need to be, then you're used to doing it. You know, I would say that's faster than a torch. You know, I'm a huge fan of a torch, but man, the results are just undeniable. All right, we got our 2 pieces cut. We got some drop. Probably just throw that straight in the scrap bin. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our tapered joint. I'm going to show you the quickest way to lay out a tapered joint. So in order to do this, I'm just going to use an old framer's trick, and I'm just going to simply use a chalk line. I'm not going to get scientific with it. I'm going to kind of just guesstimate where the end is. This is just some forks on the bottom of a bucket. It's nothing crazy. Right there, now we got our layout. So we're out here at the welding rig. We're gonna make our cut. But this is one of the great things about living in Montana. We got like, I don't know, 20 deer in the backyard right now. You always get a little Nat Geo show whenever you're doing some work outside. But all right, let's make this cut. All right, so we have our first piece of C-channel thrown on here, but as you can see, we got a pretty gnarly gap here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tack it on, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna use these dogs that I've cut. It's basically just C-clamps I've cut down, but they call these dogs. And we're gonna attempt to weld these on and pull this C-channel down in all the way flush. So it got warped while we were cutting it, but that typically happens with any sort of C-channel or dimensional steel. It'll warp on you once you get to putting some heat in it. All right, let's tack this thing on and let's go ahead and try to get this thing pulled straight and weld this thing out and get it out of here. So today I'm going to be using my 300 amp MIG welder from HTP. I really like this thing. This thing's been great to me. It's treated me well. We tested this thing for over a year before I decided to accept sponsorship from HTP. I don't fuck around with sponsorships, guys. If I tell you a tool is good, I've thoroughly tested it. You can ask anyone who's worked with me, for me. Ask Red over here. We don't fuck around, right, Red? No? How long? We had this thing for over a year, didn't we? Before we accepted a sponsorship with these guys? Yeah. So, all right, guys, let's weld it out with the HTP. Red's being shy today. I don't know what that's about. So. All right, so now we got a little bit of weld in place. I don't want to weld the shit out of this thing before I try to pull it. The reason I didn't do the top is because I'm expecting that slack to come out of the top. But let's see what happens here. So in our last video, you guys see me weld some stuff downhill. Today we're going to attempt to weld it up because, well, the fitment is right. But yeah, it's just going to be about dialing in the voltage for welding up. MIG's a pain in the ass to run uphill, but I like to manipulate it when I run up, and the reason is then you don't get such a globular look to the weld. Now this weld is, you know, probably twice as strong as if I had welded it down, but you know, it'll hold. I ain't worried about it. I don't think I'm going to put a second pass on. So we're going to do a little experiment because this is for a neighbor and a friend. I'm going to weld this side downhill, and I'm going to put a D on the bottom of the bucket. I'm going to put a U on that side of the bucket, and we're going to see if it gets ripped off. I doubt it will. But, you know, everybody's all about, hey, you can't weld anything downhill. Well, let's fucking see, right? Doesn't matter, it's a shit bucket. Worst case scenario, I gotta re-weld it. So, fuck you if you don't like it. All right, guys, it's all welded out. It should slip on the edge of my my neighbor's forks here, and he should be able to clean the goat shit out of his pen. So what I've done here is I welded a U for up, and I put a 19 on there for 19 volts. It's not the most legible thing ever. He might scrape it off. I highly doubt it. Like I said, all he's doing is picking up shit. And I put a D for down and 24 volts. Anyone who's educated could look at this and tell that I probably welded this downhill based on how flat it is, and I probably welded this uphill based on how raised it is. But it's a fun little welding experiment on something that really doesn't fucking matter. So let's turn this over to my neighbor, and well, I'll make another video if one of them rips off, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think it will. It's not like we're digging holes with this fucking thing, so they'll just be scraping snow and, like I said, picking up goat shit. Well, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you liked the video. I'm sure a bunch of you are gonna tell me I did it wrong, and I did it wrong on purpose because I want to see what happens, and like I said, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I want to take a moment. I want to thank HTP, Rockmount, Weld Sale. Those three companies are the reason I'm making long form videos on a weekly basis again, because frankly, YouTube doesn't pay worth a fuck, and your boy's got to get paid. I don't want you underneath any assumption that your boy don't got to get paid. This isn't a charity job, okay? I hope you got something from this. Maybe you got a job coming up where somebody wants you to put some fork pockets on the bottom of a bucket, and this will give you a few ideas. There's a million different ways to do it. I did it this way because he's not going to use the fork pockets to scrape the ground. The ground will be scraped flush and clean with the blade the way it's supposed to be, instead of the fork pockets picking up two little U's out of the ground. But anyway, guys, I'm Meltin Metal Anthony. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, share, do the whole 9 for your boy. If you really like the video, head over to our merch site. Buy yourself an FR, a hat, a t-shirt, a sticker, I don't know, whatever pleases you. And you can be entered to win my old welding truck, El Caracol. Every dollar you spend will be a point towards the entry. You can get 10 free points if you write me a letter and tell me why you deserve my old welding rig. But anyway, if you didn't like the video, go fuck yourself.